Music was in her blood, and she knew it would be her life from a very young age. It wasn't easy, but with the support of her family, she made it. However, just when her career was taking off, it crashed without warning, forcing her to forge ahead all on her own. Let's find out whatever happened to Mexican-American R&B singer Paula DeAnda. Born to Mexican parents in San Angelo, Texas, on November 3, 1989, Paula DeAnda started her musical journey at the age of 6 when she started taking piano lessons. With musical influences like Mariah Carey, Aaliyah, LeAnn Rimes, and Selena growing up, she quickly realized that she liked singing more than playing an instrument, so she started performing at festivals and weddings. A couple of years later, she would begin recording songs and demos. She was also a member of her church choir, and that experience helped her learn how to harmonize. At 13, Paula and her family decided to move to Corpus Christi, since the city had a reputation for being a music hub, and they believed that being in that environment would help advance her career. And did it ever! A producer she was working with named Cruz Martinez, who was also at the time a member of the Mexican-American group Cumbia Kings, had a girl group he was developing and thought Paula would fit right in. It was in the group that Paula was able to learn more harmonies and also the importance of a strong work ethic, since they rehearsed day and night. Later on, a local radio station put on a showcase where Paula would perform and would also meet her future manager, Ed Ocañas, the program director of KZFM. He was so impressed by her that he sent her into the studio with the man who would go on to produce her debut album, multi-platinum Grammy-winning producer-songwriter Happy Perez. At the tender age of 16, she wrote and recorded a song that would change her life, called What Would It Take? Without a record label to back her up, Paula took it upon herself to pound the pavement to as many radio stations as she could find to get her song on the air. Eventually, the song did get the airplay and started building some traction. One day, she was asked to be the opening act for a concert featuring rappers Baby Bash and Nelly and Latin R&B singer Frankie J. Paula and Baby Bash would end up collaborating for her next single that would also get even more attention and airplay than What Would It Take? So much so that record labels were finally forced to take notice. When all the stars were aligned, Paula, her mother, and her manager took off to the Big Apple. She ended up at an audition for Steven Ferreira, Senior Vice President of A&R at Arista Records. She did her thing and left. He passed the news on about how good she was to his boss, none other than founder and president Clive Davis. He wanted her to come back to the office immediately, and Paula didn't hesitate. She blew him away too with a couple of a cappella songs, and the next thing she knew, she was signing on the dotted line. The song that would become her official debut single, called Doing Too Much, featuring and co-written by Baby Bash, was added to her self-titled debut album released in the summer of 2006. It reached number 41 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The timing was perfect. Paula's introduction into the music scene helped to fill a void in the Latin R&B market. Rolling Stone magazine even considered her to be the perfect candidate to take over where Lisa Lisa and the Cult Jam left off. Her second single dropped immediately in the same month. The track called Walk Away, Remember Me, featuring hip-hop group The Day, would become her biggest hit to date, making its way into the top 20 on the Hot 100. 2 more singles were also released from the album, including the song Easy, which initially stirred up some controversy. The album version of the song features rapper Lil Wayne, but for the single version played by radio stations as well as the music video, his verse is replaced by one from rapper Shad Moss, or Bow Wow at the time, and before that, Lil Bow Wow, when he was hanging with super producer Jermaine Dupri and alternating between cornrows and a silk press. It was also at this time that rumors of a relationship between Paula And not only Bow Wow, but other artists as well, namely Timbaland, started making the rounds. She eventually took to MySpace to let everyone know that the rumors were indeed false. Many times, teenagers in the music business don't get to write or sing about what they really want to, because there's so many older and more powerful people in control telling them what to do. This wasn't the case for Paula. She wrote the majority of the tracks on her album, and since she was in a relationship at the time, it came from the heart and personal experience. A couple of years later, Paula began work on her follow-up album with a planned release date sometime in 2009. She did release the ballad Roll the Credits as the lead single. It didn't get anywhere near the charts, and that album, as well as a tentative Spanish language album, would be shelved after Clive Davis left the label. Paula would never put out another album with Arista and ended up departing the label as well. In January 2021, Paula spoke with Euphoria magazine about what happened, saying, "It was supposed to be a 5-album deal. That obviously didn't happen. Politics got in the way. Clive was no longer the CEO for my second album that I was working on. It never got released. Unfortunately, my A&R passed too, so there were a lot of people switching here and there and coming and going from the label. You always hear these stories and think that it'll never happen to you, but it happened." Over the next few years, Paula took matters into her own hands and went the independent route, even turning to YouTube to showcase her music to fans. She also released a series of digital non-album singles. In 2014, she announced on Twitter that she auditioned for the television singing competition The Voice. Coaches Shakira and Blake Shelton both turned their chairs around, and she decided to go with Blake. However, she was quickly eliminated in the first battle round. In a 2020 interview with Gallo the Guy You Know, she revealed that the experience was not one she would want to repeat.
I would not do like a singing show like that again though, because it's a lot mentally, and I feel like, there was so much talent too. It's hard to choose one person, because even I was like, what? Why did they let go of that guy? Why did that girl go home? Like, what are y'all doing? But again, you don't know who's really pulling the shots on those type of things. So,
following her appearance on the show, Paula released her first EP with electro house music group Jump Smokers. She really enjoyed the process of making the album, since she was able to get out of her comfort zone and hear her vocals over a completely different style of music. In early 2015, she successfully launched a Kickstarter campaign to help fund a new album to be called PDA. Later on in the year, she released a single called Brand New in support of it. Shockingly, 4 years later, the EP titled PDA would be MIA, and one could assume the people who donated to help make it happen would be PO'd. However, not all hope would be lost when fans got to hear a new track called Itty Bitty that Paula released in an effort to jumpstart the project again. The track is in homage to slain Tejano singer Selena and R&B singer Aaliyah. After traveling back and forth between Texas and Los Angeles for many years, Paula finally decided to put down permanent roots in LA, where she's lived now for several years. Of course, because of what she does for a living, the Golden State is the place to be, and since she's been living there, she's been able to tap into all her connections and get a lot of work done in the studio. At the end of 2020, Paula announced on social media that she had opened an OnlyFans account. She enjoys using the platform to express herself without restrictions and have fans get a more exclusive look into her music and personal life. At the beginning of 2021, she released a new track called Freaky, complete with a music video that, so far, is only available for viewing on her OnlyFans. She's currently working on a new album and feels really good about where she is in her career, after working for so many years to build a strong fan base. It's right in line with her life philosophy, which she has tattooed on her chest in Spanish, "Si se puede," or in English, "Yes, you can." Every time she looks at it, she's encouraged to not be afraid of anything and go for what she wants. In the summer of 2021, Paula will also celebrate the 15th anniversary of her self-titled debut album. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you won't miss any future videos. See you next time.